got the third game in the MbL versus 8th Wonder set. And not surprisingly here, 8th Wonder choosing to play on a water map.
Looks like both players here are going to choose the Vikings, which is a civilization that is incredibly powerful on a water map like islands. So at the top of the map we do have 8th Wonder as the Blue Vikings, and on the bottom island we do have MbL playing as the Yellow Vikings.
Yeah, and the score is currently 2-0 to 8th Wonder at this point. So at this stage, 8th Wonder is playing to win, and the best MbL can achieve now is a draw, and that's if he wins the next 2 games in a row. This is, of course, 8th Wonder's home map, and the map is Islands. And I think, it'll be interesting to see how this one goes. Obviously, water wars are generally very much decided by players' ability to micro, players' ability to macro at the same time as managing their army as best as they can. And to be honest with you, I think both players have got really, really good micromanagement skills. MbL in that first game, I don't know if you really may have noticed, but he was microing his scouts incredibly well in game number 1, which makes me think that he's like really on the ball right now, and micromanagement should be a dawdle for him.
Oh yeah, his micromanagement in Game 1 was absolutely impeccable, so these galley fights are certainly going to be exciting when they do happen. There are a couple things in terms of the map that we might need to catch an eye on if this, keep an eye on. If this game drags really long, MbL does have 3 relics, and his opponent, 8th Wonder, does only have 2 on the island. That probably won't be too relevant, and I think what really matters the most is going to be where both players dock, as there's some awkward points on this map in which a dock would not be ideal.
Yeah, docking on the front would not be the best thing to do, and I think 8th Wonder will be wise enough to dock in a suitable location. It looks like he's going to go and build this dock out on the left side, which won't be too bad. There's a couple of big fish there, but certainly not the best dock he could build. And I think 8th Wonder probably does have the shorter end of the stick when it comes to dock location and fish, because he just doesn't have that many options of where to put his dock in order to get good fish this game.
Yeah, I really like MbL's dock placement here, as he does have some very nice fish right nearby. Of course, guys, it's important to keep in mind that shorefish are actually a very inefficient source of food. Your fishing ships will gather from them very slowly compared to the other types of fish in the water, so you have to be careful where you put that dock. And while 8th Wonder does have a fish snapper close to his dock, there are just not that many fish in general in that area, so that could hurt his economy a little bit in the long run. Saphir Black also asks if it is sometimes worthwhile in professional Age of Empires to say screw the water and do an early feudal age landing. What do you think of that option?
Oh, that's very break the meta, isn't it? It's not generally done because it's too risky to sacrifice the water. Generally speaking, the reason why players will focus on taking water control is because, firstly, you're able to take the fish with your ships, and that's a huge, huge eco boost. So one player having fish and the other player not gives the player who's fishing a massive, massive additional amount of food, and that enables them to get to the Castle Age, get to the Imperial Age faster, and take a tech advantage, at which point, well, if they're Vikings, they could do cannon galleons and wreck you from the water. Whereas, if you were to go and land and sacrifice the fish, you are risking a lot, because you don't know what's out there. You don't know what your opponent's island looks like. You don't know if they're going to be able to wall you out with just a couple of walls and basically negate all of your aggression with a couple of very, very easily placed walls. So it's really, really risky to do it, and it's very, very unusual to see players attempting to do a feudal landing or something like that.
Yeah, when you go for an early feudal age landing, you forfeit so much economy, map control, and you carry with the risk of just not knowing what your opponent's island truly is like. So the thing is, though, is that sometimes it really can pay off. I don't think that this will be a game in which we see that, but you never know. It's a high-risk, high-reward type strategy, but in general, both players, we can expect them to go for a relatively quick feudal age time, transition all their villagers off of food and onto wood with a couple on gold, and start spamming those galleys in a standard galley rush.
Yeah, now the interesting thing on islands is sometimes the rush distance can be quite far, and MbL here, he has docked right at the back of his island, so he can actually get away with doing a 5th fishing ship now, and I think it would be valuable for him to build a 5th ship at this point. MbL has not done that, whereas 8th Wonder has. He's got his 5th fishing ship out at this stage, and that one extra fishing ship will provide a good amount of additional food throughout the feudal age, and maybe allow 8th Wonder to get a faster fletching upgrade, maybe allow him to do a faster castle time, all of which are really important things on a map like Islands, or any water map for that matter.
Yeah, that extra fishing ship is pretty huge, as MbL going to be rallying a bunch of his villagers on that deer to go and finish that to get a little boost to his food economy. Since both players are so far away from each other, the galleys are going to take a really long time to get there. That 5th fishing ship is a lot harder to punish. Rather than, normally if you invest that wood in a fishing ship, that could be one less galley early on. Won't be super relevant here, and we will see 8th Wonder stockpiling just a little bit of extra food in the long run before the galley combat begins.
Oh, definitely. And also, bear in mind, at this stage, 8th Wonder has 2 sheep underneath the town center, whereas MbL only has the 1. He's going to be pushed out to berries pretty quickly here, and as a result of that, his food income is not going to be quite as good as 8th Wonder's from his villagers, and also from the water as well. Although saying that, right now, 8th Wonder's ran out of big fish. He's forced to take the shore fish, as the dock location for 8th Wonder doesn't give him access to many of those big fish that are so much faster for his fishing ships to gather. At this point, taking the shorefish is terrible. Shorefish gather incredibly slowly, like we said earlier on, and in fact, taking shorefish with fishing ships is the 2nd slowest source of food income in the game, second to fish traps.
Yeah, you usually will see players be a little bit wary of docking near the black edge of the map, because the closer you are to the edge of the map, there's less water, less room for fish, and going for a 5th fishing ship carries that risk of, if you run into deep sea fish, then suddenly that wood kind of goes to waste. And 8th Wonder looking around trying to find MbL's docks, but he hasn't found it yet, as both players here sitting back with their galleys. It looks like MbL is up to a 6th fishing ship, and the combat has yet to begin.
Yeah, I think 8th Wonder here, MbL here even, he did do a couple of galleys and then realized that actually I should probably add some fishing ships as well, and now he's gone up to 6 ships, like you say, and he does have more fish available outside of his docks. So MbL definitely has a better position here at the moment in terms of food income. And I wouldn't be surprised if MbL goes for a very, very good castle time here. We already see a market coming up for him, and a blacksmith as well. Unusual to see the market coming up first, but if he goes ahead and sells some stone, MbL could be up to the castle age in a minute's time. And he sold his stone.
Yeah, wow, okay, so seeing that market coming up first and selling all of that stone is pretty crazy, but getting to the castle age first could set him really far ahead, and I doubt 8th Wonder is seeing this coming. That is quite a fast castle age coming off of such a large production of galleys, and 8th Wonder is still looking around. He'll probably be able to pick off a scout here, but neither player really applying that much pressure, and MbL putting down 2 more docks for a grand total of 5. He's setting himself up for one hell of a war galley push.
Oh, definitely. And MbL here also looking... MbL, what am I talking about? 8th Wonder here also looking for a very fast castle time. He's also put his market up pretty quickly. He also sold some stone, but obviously since MbL sold the stone first, 8th Wonder didn't get quite as much gold in return, but he's doing a very similar strategy, and he's actually going to send 3 villagers across to MbL's island. I did not expect that, but I think he's doing it because if you have a look, just laying on the ground there, in the dirt, dead, is MbL's scout. So MbL has no way to know that this aggression will be coming his way on the land as well. And this is really awesome to see because in this situation now, 8th Wonder is in a very, very powerful position because he has seen the map, he knows the layout of the map, and he knows that MbL's scout is dead. So the chances of being found out, much, much lower.
Yeah, one of the bigger, or there's actually, well, there are many risks with going for a feudal age landing, but another one of them is, what if you get spotted out? And that's why MbL had his scout there, just in case he saw a transport ship dropping off some vills. And when that scout goes down, 8th Wonder, I think, making a great call here. He knows that he won't get found out. There's no houses along the edge of this island to see this landing, and 8th Wonder gonna sneak a couple of archer ranges here, move aggressively with his navy, and while he's moving out, so is MbL. MbL might lose all of his fishing ships off the back of this, and we're gonna have to see how this plays out, as 8th Wonder going to inevitably lose the water with so much wood invested in those archery ranges and being a little bit behind on the castle age.
Oh, definitely. And right now, MbL will also be pushing out on the left side with those war galleys. At the same time, 8th Wonder, yeah, coming in at the back, looking to hunt those fishing ships down. But with war galley coming in just a little faster for MbL, and MbL having more docks, it does seem like MbL should be able to take the water quite comfortably, since he's going to have a lot more galley production. But at the same time, those crossbows for 8th Wonder are coming in on the land, and they're going to be killing a bunch of villagers here as Bodkin Arrow is done, and they will be tearing through those villages so quickly.
I really like that we're not seeing exactly a Vikings mirror where both players are doing exactly the same thing. 8th Wonder essentially forfeiting most of the water control here. We knew he was essentially going to inevitably lose the water due to the faster castle age time from MbL being able to get out the war galley a little bit sooner, so 8th Wonder's decision to land risky, but it might pay off here, as these crossbowmen are going to be difficult for MbL to answer. MbL putting down a second town center, going to be a little bit taxing in his economy in the short term, and in the meantime, 8th Wonder still on one.
Yeah, and 8th Wonder as well, with his forward siege workshop on MbL's island, looking to take down that TC with some pretty fast castle age aggression with that siege. Also building a stable now for good measure, maybe looking to raid with some knights or deal with any counter mangonels that could be coming out. MbL, of course, forced to do a pretty hefty defense here. He's got to get this defense out quickly, otherwise he could end up losing this game if he just doesn't deal with this. And for now, that TC will stall 8th Wonder and give him the opportunity to get out a mangonel or two and try his defense. But from the water, 8th Wonder coming in with the war galleys. He's going to find some villagers, and wow, those villagers are so low on health, yet somehow none of them going down just yet. That's amazing.
Yeah, one of the benefits of going for a landing strategy like this is you can still put your navy to good use and try and assault them from the water. Looks like one war galley is going to get actually beached here from 8th Wonder. The mangonel coming down. MbL going to try his best to defend against this, but look at that villager clumping.
Wow.
This is one really inefficient economy, and 8th Wonder kind of all in here. He is going to be putting down a stable, pumping out some knights too, and, well, MbL not really able to defend against this quite well.
Yeah, the important thing to note here, though, is that MbL will still take the water control here. He will take down those galleys from 8th Wonder, and he will be able to redeploy his fishing ships for a little bit of food boost. He's also building 3 new town centers here and running back to the TC to try and defend from these knights. And I feel like that's not a bad decision, really. Being able to defend with building by building these TCs is probably actually, you know, going to work out fairly well for him. The problem is he's having to take quite a bit of stone, and he's obviously having to spend quite a bit of wood building these town centers as well, that it might end up making his eco very inefficient. And actually looking at it, how many villagers does MbL have working right now? I think maybe 4?
This is certainly a high-risk, high-reward town center, as it is right next to that forward. It doesn't get any closer than that. And if we look at the villager idle time and compare it between both players, it is horrifying. MbL up to 1 hour and 9 minutes of idle time compared to 8th Wonder's 27 minutes of villager idle time. So MbL taking a disproportionate amount of damage to his economy. However, he's set himself up so that, assuming he can sustain vill production from these 4 town centers, which he absolutely can't right now,
no way.
he will allow himself to catch up. But right now, he's really poor.
Oh, right now, yeah, MbL is looking pretty you know, on the ropes, on the land. Sure, yeah, he's got these 4 TCs now, so I mean, it's going to offer a little more protection for those villagers. And obviously, you know, they are going to be put to use later on when the food income slowly starts to come back again. But yeah, I mean, 1 hour and 19 idle time for MbL versus the 30 minutes of 8th Wonder is certainly not too good. And we should have a quick look at the KD for these guys as well, because MbL has been losing a lot of villagers, and indeed, he is 10 villagers behind, even though he's on 4 TCs versus 8th Wonder's 2.
Yeah, and he's even further behind than it looks because half of his villagers haven't been doing anything for most of the game. They've just been building, they've been running around, and 8th Wonder's landing decision really paying dividends here. These 4 town centers seem a little bit curious to me, as there's no way MbL would be able to sustain Vil production from all of these. He's really struggling to keep the Vil production rolling, and in the meantime, 8th Wonder just having his way with him, putting down some watchtowers to poke at these gold miners. So many idle villagers.
And 8th Wonder doing guard tower right now as
Whoa.
well. It's a tech that, I mean, I've seen 8th Wonder do guard tower 3 times so far this tournament. And it's a tech that you just don't see players do. Yet 8th Wonder seems to do it pretty often. It's kind of an interesting one. I don't necessarily think it's that worthwhile to him here. Sure, it's going to allow him to, you know, kind of hold this area down a little more with these 2 towers. And indeed, 8th Wonder will take down this TC from MbL. So you are right. It is a little bit ambitious.
Yeah, that was a high risk, well, very high risk town center. In this case, there was really not much of a reward as the guard tower decision. Very, very cute. A lot of flavor in this. Putting in some crossbowmen to fire some additional arrows out of that town center, and well, 8th Wonder is poised to take down another one as they're just, you know, catching fire right now, dropping in HP rapidly. There are no real answers to these mangonels, and 8th Wonder setting up a tower defense with 4 guard towers on his opponent's island. What a game.
Yeah, at this point, MbL just looks really messy. Those crossbows are, well, all over the place, killing his villagers wherever he seems to send them, and it's obviously less than ideal. But MbL, he really needs some siege. And the problem is, he's not had much wood income. He was forced away from the wood line on the south by that mangonel earlier on, and of course those galleys. He was forced away from the one a little further up by the by the guard tower, and now he's been forced away from the one on the left by just 2 crossbows. A lot of idle villagers. A lot of villagers on very low health as he scrambles to take wood, but still does not have enough wood to build a mangonel to defend these new town centers. So a lot of wasted resources, a lot of wasted wood, and MbL back down to just the single TC. My goodness, that is a ton of wood wasted right there.
MbL just completely crumbling to the pressure. 8th Wonder, 100% in control of this game. MbL showing promising signs of life early on with a very, very cheeky, you know, fast Castle Age play at the market, but it's just not paying off here. There's so much idle time. MbL having to build another town center on the left. He's reduced back to 1. I've never seen a player recover from losing 3 TCs like this. And the Navy coming in at the backside. MbL getting slaughtered.
Oh, great timing from 8th Wonder there as well. He'll find like 4 or 5 villagers here as well. And it's just, it's going from bad to worse for MbL right now as 8th Wonder goes up to the Imperial Age. And on top of all this, he just did a 2 TC mini boom back at home. He didn't overinvest in too many villages. And considering he's not lost any villages, he's ahead by miles as he sends about 90% of his eco to go and take stone on this right-hand side. I think he desperately wants a castle right now. So much so that he's willing to send everything to that stone pile.
Yeah, and that's about the only thing that could possibly allow him any chance of coming back in this game, is I haven't seen idle time this bad in forever. My goodness, we're 35 minutes in, and we have 2 hours and 17 minutes of idle time for MbL, and it's only growing. 2 hours and 18 minutes compared to 8th Wonder's 58 minutes total. These villagers moving up, just gonna shank these castles, more guard towers on the way. MbL is running out of options.
It's kind of funny as well, seeing the guard towers absolutely tear through those knights. Of course, Viking knights without bloodlines, and of course he doesn't have any upgrades either. So those guard towers, surprisingly effective actually. And this is the thing now, even if MbL sort of semi-recovers from this, How on earth is he going to deal with all of these guard towers? Well, he simply isn't. And Eighth Wonder hits the Imperial Age there. MbL will call GG.
And somewhere in the back of my mind, I'm thinking that Eighth Wonder wants to get the Imperial Age to get Bracer to buff those guard towers further. And, well, MbL gonna recognize that the game beyond his control, the Imperial Age gonna seal the deal, and he's gonna call it game. What a fantastic showing from Eighth Wonder in this series. He's looking great.
Oh, he is. He has played so well this tournament so far. You know, he started off pretty badly, losing 0-3 to Riot, but then he drew against the Viper in round 2. He beat Tato 3-0 in round 3, and now in round 4, he's going to take the games versus MbL 3-0 as well. Eighth Wonder with some great games today, and showing that he really does have what it takes at this point to maybe end up in the top 3 position in this league.
Yeah, Eighth Wonder poised to be at the top of the standings of the Platinum League if he keeps playing this well. He's just been adapting fantastically to each of these situations, and it just goes to show that you can start the game off with a game plan, and a really good player can execute the early game well, but a great player can take their plan and adapt it over time, change it, and Eighth Wonder, ready for anything.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I've seen like too much hate towards MbL in the chat, guys. It's not cool. MbL